Hey everybody, welcome to How to Swim Breaststroke. Alright, this week I have lots of tips and tricks for you guys to try out. That's going to help out your breaststroke and really help you guys get the hang of it a little bit more. I find a lot of students really have a hard time just like getting comfortable with breaststroke, and really it should just be a very relaxing and easy stroke for you guys to do, and shouldn't find it so difficult. Okay, so I'm going to hop on in. I'm going to give you guys some tips and hopefully you find them helpful. All right, let's hop on in.
All right, so welcome to Breaststroke. Just a few things I want to mention before I get into kind of the details and things that you want to focus on. I want to mention that breaststroke is mainly a rest stroke. So this means that you're going to be using it to recover from a significant distance of front crawl, or even if you're in like swimming at a lake or in open water, you're going to take a look around in front of you. This can be a very easy way to kind of transition from that front crawl style of swimming and just get your bearings in the water. So that's kind of the purpose of the stroke, even though it can be a competitive racing stroke. Now let's talk a bit about technique. So I want to first talk about my arms. If you look at how I'm pulling through the water, I almost drop my hands down without my elbows losing too much depth, and my hands are almost dropped down at a 90-degree angle to my body before I pull them in underneath me. And my hands, if you look, are cupped really nicely to really sort of create a lot of pull resistance and pull me through the water quite forcefully. And the other thing that's maybe worth noting is that my arms really aren't going deep into the water or really wide. We want to really emphasize that, again, swimming is about staying streamlined. So we want this pull to really utilize as much of your forearms and hand sort of surface area as possible. We don't really want it to take you out of your streamlined position. Legs. Kicking. If you notice how I am doing my breaststroke, I'm utilizing what's called a whip kick. And I have lots of articles on my website if you want to read about this more, but if you look at my feet aren't pointed like they are with front crawl. Instead, they're flexed. So it's almost like if I was standing straight up and down, my feet would be pointing sort of out to like almost 2 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Well, that's important because that's sort of the shape that your feet need to be in if you're going to have an effective whip kick. My arms and legs move at the same time. If you notice, when my hands are initiating a pull, my legs are also initiating a kick. It all kind of happens simultaneously. And also with my kick, my legs aren't really stretching out really wide. Some people turn into like they almost look like a frog or something when they're swimming breaststroke, and it's because they're almost stretching and almost doing the splits, really bringing those legs out really wide. Again, we don't want that. We want it to be nice and tight, keeping our streamlined position. And lastly, a lot of people don't remember that their feet got to come together after the kick. Bring the feet all the way together and meet, because that's what's going to allow you to really like get the last little bit of that propulsion out of your kick. Let's talk about our breathing now. So when I'm swimming and I'm demonstrating my breathing in this video, you can see that I'm breathing at the same time as I've sort of initiated my pull. And that's the way that you want to do it. When you pull and start that and initiate that pull in your breaststroke, that's when you want to take that breath and lift your head out of the water. And it's also worth noting that at this time, you definitely still want to be exhaling underwater. You don't want to be holding your breath the entire time. Lastly, I want to just talk about some general sort of tips about body language and just strategy that you want to be taking when you're trying this out. if you notice, my body actually comes to almost a rest for a few seconds after each arm pull and kick. You actually want to take the time to let yourself glide and don't work too hard throughout this whole thing. It's not one arm pull, two arm pull, three arm pull. It's more so 1, 2. Really get rhythmic with it and allow yourself to kind of disperse a little bit at speed before you take your next pull and kick. I also have a fairly relaxed body language while I'm doing this. My shoulders stay really relaxed throughout the whole process. I don't look like Mr. Muscle Man, like trying really hard, stiff neck, everything, like really trying too hard. No, it's really relaxed. Like I always emphasize to everybody that this everyone's mindset when they're trying to learn swimming needs to be one of conscious relaxation, because that's what's really gonna give you the ability to relax and dissect what works and what doesn't work when you're trying this stuff out. We also want to make sure that we're looking down at the bottom of the pool when we're swimming. A lot of people forget to make this mistake, particularly with front crawl, but it also happens with breaststroke. They look forward towards the direction they're going the entire time. That is a big mistake. It actually makes your legs sink, and it makes your entire body sort of center of gravity. It throws it off just a little bit. No, you want to look down, almost in a neutral sort of spinal position, right towards the bottom of the pool. And like lastly, really, if you want to try to achieve that sort of next level of like technique with this, you actually want to try to really throw your torso into each pull. If you can start engaging your core after each pull during the sort of initiation of the glide, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot of extra strength and sort of longevity to each glide after each pull and kick. So those are my tips for you guys.
And it's really as simple as that, everybody. Breaststroke shouldn't feel difficult. It shouldn't feel exhausting. It should feel very efficient and comfortable. And again, amazing rest stroke for you guys when you need to take a breather, all right? So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. If you need any more advice, head on over to swimmingfearless.com, where I have more articles and tips for you guys to try out. Hope it was good, everybody. See you next week.